Every person you meet is an opportunity to grow, learn, and sharpen your listening skills and therefore empathy. Every person you meet is an opportunity to grow, learn, and sharpen your listening skills and therefore your empathy. Empathetic leadership, again, has never been more important. Has it always been important? Absolutely. It's never been more important than it is now, given the society, the dynamic that we're in, the culture that we're in right now. And I think every conversation is an opportunity to sharpen your listening skills, for you to become that person who's an active, intentional listener that listens with your whole body and being totally emotionally present, which also takes emotional health and emotional intelligence. Every conversation is an opportunity to make someone feel important, seen, heard, and valued with intentional, active, curious listening. What is going on, EQ gangsters? All right, this is part 2 of lessons learned and reminders from my 25-year West Point reunion. Last episode was the first chunk of lessons, and this episode we may be finishing it out. If not, this will be part 2 regardless, and then we may have a part 3. So thank you again for rating, reviewing, subscribing, sharing our podcast episodes and our YouTube channel. I know some of y'all prefer YouTube. You can check us out at EQ Gangster. If you're a podcaster, like podcasts, thank you for checking us out on our podcast. And of course, we're all on all the social media platforms as well. For those of you all that are ready to level up your emotional fitness program to the next level, go to eqgangster.com and join the EQ Mafia. Safe, supportive, equipping community of people that are all working towards the same goal of getting healthier emotionally, creating an emotional fitness program, and ultimately getting emotionally healthier, which is going to result in the freedom, the emotional freedom that I have now. There's so many areas, so many areas, and I'm working on a book that will be discussing a lot of these different things too. So next set of lessons, the last lesson that I left off with from the last episode was how exciting it is to learn about and discover people. For me, this is how I view everybody. I view everybody as hidden treasure. Like literally, like if you remember the old pirate movies, or for my old school folks out there, Goonies. Boom. What? Goonies? They're like buried treasure, hidden treasure. Each person that I walk by, I'm like, man, I wonder what treasure they have inside of them that maybe they haven't even discovered themselves. So for me, it's so exciting learning about and discovering people. That's why I love being a coach, an executive coach, and helping develop emotionally intelligent leaders through, well, one of the ways for me is through coaching people one-on-one and facilitating group discussions and conversations, because to help people realize and discover their gifts and talents and abilities that they may not even know they have themselves is so rewarding and fulfilling to me. Next one, active listening with your whole body is rare. Active listening with your whole body is rare. How many times have you been in a conversation where somebody has interrupted you? How many times do you interrupt other people when you're in conversation with somebody? That's not good conversation skills or people skills or emotional intelligence. When you interrupt people, you are saying that your agenda is more important than their agenda. There are some very, very, very rare exceptions, but there are a couple exceptions. The other dynamic that low intelligence impacts people is little to no self-awareness and little to no self-management, which can lead people that will lead them to talk forever and just never stop talking. In that case, in that rare case, that's where I will interrupt and either change the subject or leave the conversation. If somebody only talks about themselves the entire time, that's revealing their emotional intelligence. So rarely, and even over the weekend, just observing the different conversations and stuff, it seems like people, there are some people that were great listeners. Typically, when you meet somebody that actively listens with their whole body and all their emotions, they're emotionally present, it's memorable. Think about in your life, when was the last time where you felt heard and seen and valued by the other person who was actively, intentionally listening with their entire body and they were completely emotionally present? Who was that? And it might not even be a bad idea to send them a message, an email, a text, message on LinkedIn or wherever, and tell them, man, thank you that was a powerful experience. You're an amazing listener. And just telling them, what did you get out of that conversation? Why was it so impactful for you? And how many people thought of your name if they were asked the same question, when was the last time somebody listened to them actively, intentionally with their whole body and emotions? So anyway, it's rare. The bottom line is active listening with their whole body and being totally emotionally present is rare. But when it happens, it is very memorable. Next, every person you meet is an opportunity to grow, learn, and sharpen your listening skills and therefore empathy. Every person you meet is an opportunity to grow, learn, and sharpen your listening skills and therefore your empathy. Empathetic leadership, again, has never been more important. Has it always been important? Absolutely. It's never been more important than it is now, given the society, the dynamic that we're in, the culture that we're in right now. And I think every conversation is an opportunity to sharpen your listening skills, for you to become that person who's an active, intentional listener that listens with your whole body and being totally emotionally present, which also takes emotional health and emotional intelligence. Every conversation is an opportunity to make someone feel important, seen, heard, and valued with intentional, active, curious listening. Every conversation is an opportunity to make someone feel important, seen, heard, and valued with intentional, active, and curious listening. One of the most effective ways to make someone feel valued is to be an active listener, an active, intentional listener who asks deep, engaging, and meaningful questions and listens thoughtfully to the responses. So I'll leave that there. That's a whole nother, I could go super deep dive on that. I've done 3 to 4 hours. I've got a 3 to 4 hour training on just how to ask great questions and high quality questions. I am passionate about asking questions. I think the right questions at the right time with the right people can unlock someone's life and help take them to the next level. Next one, how am I structuring my life to match my core values? How am I structuring my life to match my core values? I talked about that a little bit the last episode. And here's another point. We're not wealthy. My awesome wife and I are not, this wealthy. I mean, that's relative, right? So are we wealthy compared to, the people living in poverty? Sure, absolutely. But in terms of like wealth, like we're not millionaires. So, and I don't know if that's what somebody considers wealthy or not, but anyway, we're not even close right now to being millionaires. So we're not wealthy, but I am thankful that in terms of time, we are billionaires. If time was money, no kidding, if time was money, we would be billionaires. We've been blessed to spend 17 years working from home, and our 14-year-old daughter has never known her parents to have a 9-to-5 office job. She has never. We We were financially independent at 30, 27 years old for my wife, 30 years old for me. And our daughter has never known us to have a 9 to 5 job. And we homeschool. So our daughter has had 2 stay-at-home parents, and we homeschool her. So the amount of family time that we have had in her 14 years of life, absolutely we are in the top 0.01% of the entire planet with the amount of family time that we've had. And I'm so fortunate, but we're not millionaires. We're not these big baller, zillionaire people, but in terms of time, we absolutely are. And that will be one of the most biggest accomplishments in my life that I will be thankful for on my deathbed, is how much family time that we have been able to have for my daughter's entire life at this point in her life. And I'm so thankful. So the next one is create the life you want around time, assuming that's one of your values and something that you value. Create the life you want around time and around your core values. Does your current life reflect your core values? Actually, not theoretically or whatever, but like actually. You can have an amazing quality of life without being a millionaire. You can have an amazing quality of life without being a millionaire. Have you ever sat down and asked yourself what type of quality of life that you want? Have you ever done that? Or are you like so many of us that are on the treadmill? We're on that treadmill of promotions and jobs and salaries and office plants and the corner office at your job, and the cool parking spot at your job, and the cool title on your door at your job. Is that, and then only to discover that after 10, 20, 30 years, you've been climbing the wrong ladder. You've been climbing the ladder of maybe what our Western culture, Western society deems is important, but does it reflect, does your ladder that you are climbing every day with whatever you're doing to make money, does that reflect accurately and truly your core values? When you're on your deathbed, will you say, man, I just wish I could have had one more promotion. I wish I could have just made $50,000 more. I wish I could have made $100,000 or $1 million or $10 more million. Is that going to be your thought? The whole reverse planning concept in the military. How do you want to end your life? What do you want the end of your life to look like? What do you want your legacy to be? Backwards plan. What does that look like today in order to end up at the destination that you're wanting to end up at? Don't wait. I encourage you, man, if you're wanting to make that change, really evaluate, am I structuring my life to match my core values? Okay. And again, create the life you want. Okay, a few questions I was asking myself there from that 25-year reunion. Who do I want to spend time with? Specifically, who do you want to spend time with? Specifically, in your family, who do you want to spend time with? And that could be obviously immediate and extended. Your friends, which friends do you want to spend time with? And then, you can go back to elementary school friends, high school friends, college friends, work friends, sports friends, whatever your different friend groups have been over the years. And then in the letter C there is business partners or colleagues. Are there any business partners or colleagues or professional relationships that you want to spend more time with? Who do you want to spend time with? Make a list. Next one, how much time do you want to spend with those people? And again, I'd break that down: daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually. How much time do you want to spend with those folks? 3, what type of time do you want to spend with those people? Relaxing time, or doing activities, traveling, working, brainstorming, collaborating, doing adventures, going to the gym, going to get coffee. What type of time? And then also, to break it down even further and to be even more intentional, is Maybe you can break it even down on their love languages. Spend the type of time with that person in whatever category based on their love language, so that they can feel loved. To maximize that time. And then also for you too, what's your love language, right? And how can you be intentional maybe about crafting that time and creative about crafting that time so that it's extra meaningful for both of you. All right. Next one. I'm so ridiculously thankful that we created the time with our family and made the time to make almost every single one of our class reunions, again, except for one. Because again, those relationships, man, are for me are priceless. And again, people that I haven't seen forever, man, it just was so good to see them. It just was getting good for the soul. Okay, next one. If God puts someone on your heart, reach out to them. There's probably a reason that he put them on your heart. A number of my classmates reached out to me during some recent valleys, and it was a priceless blessing to be on the receiving end of their love and kindness and time. Mark Conselman owns I want to say it's called the Texas Boot Company. Don't quote me on that, but Mark Conselman reached out to me and asked me when I was in a valley, hey man, how you doing? Again, we hadn't talked in I don't think since school. And he reached out and just said, dude, man, we're just thinking about you. I wanted to check in on you. A guy named Jason, another one of my classmates, reached out, same deal, hadn't talked in however many years. Hey, Noble, hey, man, just, praying for you. How you doing? What's going on? Again, Ed Stover, already told you about him in the last episode. And there were some other ones. There were some other folks that have reached out. So I again, thank you for those folks that have already been doing this. Maybe you've already made this as a habit or practice, that if someone pops in your brain, that you either reach out to them or pray for them or something. I just think that's so powerful. You never know what someone's going through. You never know. They may walk good, look good, talk good, smell good, but you never know. If God puts them on your heart, there may be a reason. Reach out, maybe send them a Bible verse, send them an encouraging quote, let them know you're praying for them. You're thinking about them. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them if they want to chat, maybe set up a Zoom call, something like that, and just to connect. Again, you never know why that happens. So, and reach out. I would just encourage you. Next one, this is not new probably for most of you, but your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth. And again, it's humbling to be in that among the classmates that I've got. I don't know what the net worth is of the network of my West Point class, but I would imagine it's pretty big because we have some amazing, again, ballers. Next, see if there's a way you can add value to your circle, your sphere of influence, your SOI, your sphere of influence. See if there's a way you can add value. How can you add value to the people in your life? How can you be more intentional at adding value based on your skills and gifts and talents and abilities? Next, trust among relationships is critical, personally and professionally. Trust is critical among relationships. Next, verbalizing someone's specific strengths is empowering for the recipient and adds value to your relational bank account. Verbalizing someone's specific strengths, gifts, talents, abilities is empowering both for the recipient and adds value to your relational bank account. So be a treasure hunter, a gift finder. Next one, hearing people's stories without interrupting is inspiring both for the storyteller and the listener. Hearing people's stories without interrupting is inspiring for both the storyteller and the listener. For me, here's the deal. Everyone, which is my next point, everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. Can you be a good enough, active enough listener to allow someone to share their story and, again, make them feel valued and seen and heard? I was just talking to a lady who, she's a super lady, very successful lady, and she's a black lady, and And I'll tell you why that's important here in a second. And for those of you that don't know me, I've got black family. So I've got, in fact, an African family. My brother-in-law is from Ghana, like not born in Brooklyn, and 3 generations ago had somebody that lived in Africa. I'm talking like Ghanaian. He moved to the U.S. like when he was in his 20s. And super dude, ridiculously successful, this baller accounting guy, CPA finance guy, big brain finance guy. And anyway, so this lady, she's from the States, but black lady, very successful, and is working with some folks that are white that are leaders. And my friend was sharing that she has brought up multiple times how her race, being black, is important to her. And some of the issues and concerns that she has felt at some of the various business staff meetings that this white couple has had and also have been a part of. And how she has felt is gaslit and not seen and not heard. And, anyway, I don't want to share too many details because I don't know all the folks that are listening to the podcast and stuff. So I'll keep it as general as possible. And I told her, I said, look, I said, I am so thankful for your blackness. And I love that your blackness is important to you. I said, I've got some Hispanic in me, and I know that doesn't look like it, but my mom raised me speaking Spanish. My mom's a 4'10" little Hispanic lady. And I love the little, whatever amount of Hispanic I've got in me, I love it. And I'm proud of it. And I speak Spanish to my daughter. And I love all kinds of aspects about the little, whatever percentage of Hispanic heritage I've got in me. And I said, I love it that you love being black. And I think that's awesome. And that's it, and that it's important to you. And I said, of course you would see the world from your perspective, just like we all do. I see the world through my eyes, and you see the world through your eyes. And how you see the world through your eyes is important. And how you see the world through your eyes is important to me. And we're just, we're just friends. We're not, colleagues or anything like that. I don't, work with her in a professional setting in terms of like a business setting. She again is a very successful executive with the company that she's working with. And I just thought, because I've felt gaslit before. I've been gaslit for 3 years and by a lot of people. And it does not feel good not feeling seen, heard, or understood. And there are consequences. There are consequences in relationships. Think about this. Have you ever felt in a relationship not seen, not heard, and not understood? How did that feel? I know for me, I can't stand it. It's repulsive almost, based on, again, I've got some very, very lots and lots of experience with this whole dynamic. So for me, like repulsive and repelling may be pretty strong words, but if you knew the full story or heard the full story, you would understand that I've got some very, very intimate experiences with narcissism and narcissistic organizations, and being gaslit and not feeling seen, heard, or understood is very, very upsetting for me. And so I wanted to make sure that my friend knew that, listen, I see you and I hear you and I value you and I love you for who you are, just the way you are, with all your passions and values and things that are important to you. Just like I want you to feel the same way about the stuff that's important to me, right? So, and it's so important, y'all. It's so important. And unbeknownst to me, my friend actually wrote up on social media kind of a post about our interaction, and she didn't mention my name and kind of kept it on the DL, which is totally fine, which is great. And she said that she's like, Noble, she told me this, I felt more seen and heard and understood, in a 10, 15, 20 minute conversation with you than I have in hours and hours and hours of trying to talk to these other folks. And man, that just hurt my heart. It hurt my heart, y'all. And then check this out. This is mind blowing. I'm reading this awesome book. Actually, the episode just dropped, I think, last week. The Path Out of Loneliness. For those on the YouTube channel can see me holding this book up. The Path Out of Loneliness by Dr. Mark Mayfield. Definitely highly encourage you all check it out. The Path Out of Loneliness. And I want to share with you some of these stats. They are very, very powerful and sobering and sad. 54% of people surveyed felt no one knew them well. 54%. 46% reported feeling alone, with 47% feeling left out. 43% of people lacked companionship. 43% felt their relationships weren't meaningful. Y'all, that's one out of almost two. That's almost 50%. 4 out of 10 people, almost 5 out of 10 people. 43% felt isolated from others. 39% no longer felt close to anyone. 59% felt like their interests and ideas weren't shared by others. 36% didn't feel like they had anyone to turn to. Y'all, that, as a guy who, empathy is one of my strengths, that is heartbreaking. That's on page 17 of Dr. Mark Mayfield's book, The Path Out of Loneliness. Definitely encourage you all to check it out. So when she shared all this stuff with me, that she was not feeling heard and seen and understood and valued, I again, my empathy, like I wanted her to know, listen, girl, I love you, I value you, I appreciate you exactly how you are with all your concerns and issues and joys and pains and loves and struggles and everything else. And it was just heartbreaking, man, to hear that my friend had just been having this experience. And then I've also thought, like, how many times has she felt that way throughout her life? So, man, I just encourage you, see each other. See each other. Check this out. I've got a professional kind of colleague, sort of friend. This is years ago. I was working for a big homeschool organization then. And this lady, I was kind of going through a little bit of a tough time. And, I shared my concern or my issue or whatever I was going through. And this is all she said to me. I see you. I see you. And man, I lost it. I just got all emotional. It slammed me to the wall, y'all. When is the last time you felt seen, heard, valued, and understood? When is the last time you felt that way? When is the last time you felt somebody else? You have made someone else feel seen, heard, valued, and understood. When is the last time you have made someone else feel seen, heard, valued, and understood? Okay, so this is going to be part 2. I'm going to stop and we're going to go into next week. We will do, or the next episode will be part 3 of lessons learned, because I'm going on some tangents that I want to go on that I feel are important. And again, thank you for listening, letting us be a part of your emotional growth journey, your emotional health journey. And thank you for sharing, rating, reviewing, subscribing. the episodes, the podcast, the YouTube channel, and please take 15 seconds, 20 seconds to jump on our podcast and just rate us, give us a rating and review. Would love to if you wouldn't mind doing that. It would mean a lot. And thank you for sharing how you're growing. And I'd love to hear either again on the review section of the podcast or on the YouTube channel, or an email, noble@eqgangster.com, or on social media, all our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, EQ Gangster. Just which of those points resonated the most with you. And I really pray and hope that you feel seen, heard, valued, and understood. And if you don't, man, please check out our EQ Mafia. I'll make it a point that everyone, God willing, feels seen, heard, valued, and understood in our membership. Go to eqgangster.com, click on Join the Mafia. If it's not currently open, just jump on the wait list there, and we will open it back up at some point in the future. But I really encourage you, if you want to be a part of a safe, supportive, encouraging, equipping community to grow your emotional health and your emotional fitness, please join us at eqgangster.com, and then just check out Join the Mafia. Remember, emotionally healthy leaders help heal other people emotionally.